We'll be hearing a public hearing on Intro 1219, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Ayala, which would authorize the establishment of the East Harlem 125th Street Business Improvement Districts. I want to offer Deputy Speaker Ayala, do you want to make any remarks?
I was going to say, woohoo! Thank you.
Please.
I'm just so excited I can do cartwheels here today. This is a long time coming, and I really wanted just to thank all of the people that were involved in this. Specifically, I want to congratulate and thank Carrie King, who's been such an instrumental part of the evolution of the conversation regarding the bid. It's been a difficult road on 125th Street. We've had a lot of challenges. We continue to, grapple with some as we speak, but we've made so much headway, and I think that this bid is the cherry on the top, and I'm just really so excited for the future of 125th Street. And I want to thank all of you, SBS, DERS, all of the partners. There was just so many people that really came together to make this happen, and I couldn't be happier. So thank you all, and congratulations.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. With respect to Intro 1219, we'll hear from any witnesses who wish to testify. Once we've heard testimony, we will then adjourn the hearing for at least 30 days to allow any property owner within the proposed area of the bid to file an objection to the bid's establishment with the city clerk. We're now going to hear testimony from SBS on the East Harlem 125th Street bid, and we're joined by SBS representatives, Deputy Commissioner Brown. Before SBS begins, I'm going to turn it over to my committee counsel to swear you in.
Good morning, Commissioner Brown. Do you affirm that your testimony will be truthful to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Good morning, Chair Brennan and members of the Finance Committee. I am Calvin Brown, the Deputy Commissioner for Neighborhood Development, and I'm joined here by my colleagues, Emily Edward, who is the Executive Director for our bid program, and Leslie Velasquez, who is the Director of Bid Development and Legislation. We are here to testify in support of the East Harlem 125th Street Business Improvement District. At SBS, we are committed to unlocking economic potential and creating economic security for all New Yorkers through business services, workforce opportunities, and neighborhood development. We partner with community-based organizations such as business improvement districts to build thriving neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs. During the Adams administration, we have awarded over $1.8 million in grant funds to incentivize the creation of new bids and nearly $11 million to support small bids. For more than 40 years, bids have been a valuable and proven partner in commercial revitalization and economic development across the city. SBS supervises all active bid formation and expansion efforts, serving as advisors and resources for the community interested in developing or expanding an existing bid. We're careful to ensure that each steering committee we work with adheres to our planning process and policies, solicit robust community input, and performs extensive outreach to collect and demonstrate broad-based support across all stakeholder groups. Moreover, we are cognizant of the unique nature of each community we assist and aim to empower local stakeholders to make determinations on proposed services, boundaries, budget size that best suits their community needs and appetite and ability to pay the assessments. While we are always in part some strong planning principles and share data and best practices when we're working with any bid formation effort, we recognize that the power and the effectiveness of bids rests in their unmatched understanding of the local needs and issues. SBS has invested in the East Harlem neighborhood since 2017. For nearly a decade now, we have funded local CBDOs, including the New Harlem East Merchant Association, now known as Uptown Grand Central. We are cognizant of the changes and challenges in this neighborhood, and which is why we are especially excited to work for this exciting bid to come to fruition. Like any other bid formation that SBS has overseen, the East Harlem 125th Street formation effort involved numerous meetings and consultations with local stakeholders throughout the planning and outreach phases. After an extensive outreach effort and close coordination with all key parties, SBS determined that the documented support among all stakeholder groups 74% of the area's total assessed value, 50% of the total properties, and 34% of commercial tenants was sufficient to start the legislative process. The levels of outreach achieved by the East 125th Street bid effort meets the broad-based support SPS requires before any effort advances to the legislative phase. As required by law, the East 125th Street Steering Committee mailed the summary of the City Council resolution no less than 10 days and no more than 30 days before today's hearing to the following parties: each owner of real property within the proposed district at the address shown on the latest city assessment roll, such other persons as are registered with the city to receive tax bills concerning real property within the district, and tenants of each building within the proposed district. The steering committee also published notice of this hearing in a newspaper in general circulation in the city per the legal requirement. I would like to acknowledge and thank Deputy Speaker Ayala as well as Councilmember Salam for their ongoing support of East 125th Street bid formation effort. SBS believes that this bid will provide the much-needed services and support to the businesses within the proposed district. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge that representatives of the bid formation effort are present here today to testify and address any specific questions that I am unable to answer. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from my colleagues? No. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Okay, we'll now hear from members of the East Harlem 125th Street Steering Committee, Carrie King, Kat Peeler, and Jordan Barowitz.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and want to offer my thanks to Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala and Councilmember Salam for their support in this process. My name is Carrie King. I'm a resident of East 126th Street, which is just a block away from the proposed bid corridor. I'm also the director of Uptown Grand Central, a nonprofit that got its start about 10 years ago, in large part because there was no bid to serve the area. To this very day, East Harlem remains the only community district in Manhattan that has no business improvement district. In 2013, a group of local small businesses, mostly women and people of color, got together and held a series of volunteer street cleanups. Later, they formalized into a merchants association called the New Harlem East Merchants Association, or NEMA. A few years later, we formed Uptown Grand Central, a 501c3 nonprofit focused on cleaning and greening, public space and public art, small business support, community development, and neighborhood advocacy. Thank you. Over the years, we have thankfully been supported by grants from New York City Small Business Services, our council member and Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, as well as other city agencies and donors. 3 years ago, it was Uptown Grand Central that brought together the individuals who became the steering committee and began work on forming what we are now calling the East Harlem 125th Street bid. What Uptown has found over the years is that the work of cleaning East 125th Street and the surrounding blocks is much too large for a small nonprofit. The area is a transit hub, meaning that we have tens of thousands of people per day commuting through on the Lexington Avenue 456 subway line, as well as the Harlem 125th Street Metro North Station, as well as the M60 bus to LaGuardia, which is a lot of people to clean up after. As many of you know, over the past 50 years, the area has also become home to an overconcentration of drug treatment programs and shelters. And one of our main intersections of 125th Street and Lexington Avenue is the drop point for some 2,000 people per day from the programs and shelters on Randall's Island. The resulting sidewalk conditions and garbage needs require a much more robust response than our small nonprofit can maintain. The East 125th Street area is home to a number of great businesses with great products, including some of our founding members, Sisters Caribbean Cuisine, The Brownstone, and Omo Shade Skincare, as well as newer businesses such as Gin Gin Cafe. However, they consistently face depressed sales due to depressed foot traffic, simply because potential customers find the East 125th Street area too unsightly to visit, too chaotic to linger, and to continue to spend. Our goal in creating the bid is to bring together greater resources to keep our sidewalks clean and feeling more safe and walkable. Our goal is to help stabilize the East 125th Street corridor so that our small businesses, cultural institutions, and public spaces can thrive. We look forward to working together with the bid to provide more resources and to advocate to the city to help us solve the challenges of the East 125th Street corridor. It is our goal that by so doing, we will help to foster culturally responsible and responsive development for Northeast Harlem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kat Peeler. I am a resident of Northeast Harlem and the owner of a local small business. I am also a member of the board of Uptown Grand Central and part of the steering committee for the formation of the East Harlem 125th Street bid. Having lived close to the East 125th Street corridor for 19 years now, I can testify to how deeply the area is in need of community and economic development. Our neighborhood is oversaturated with an overconcentration of drug treatment centers and shelters that on a daily basis attract thousands of people to our streets and sidewalks. As many of you who have studied the history of redlining know, these facilities were placed by design in our low-income community of color. What this means for our small businesses, a large number of which are owned by women and people of color, is depressed foot traffic, since most potential customers do not want to shop or stop to eat along the East 125th Street corridor. I am part of the East Harlem 125th Street bid formation because, also by design, I want to see our neighborhood thrive. Increased street cleaning and coordination of public safety strategies are the top two requests of our local stakeholders as determined by our needs assessment survey. By creating a bid, we will have the resources to begin to address many of the challenges that our neighborhood has faced for so long. The group of people that has come together as part of the bid formation process includes residents and small business owners like me, plus representatives from schools and cultural institutions, plus property owners who have been both in the neighborhood for years or have more recently joined in advance of the construction of the 2nd Avenue subway. We all represent different interests from across the neighborhood and yet have worked really well together over the past 3 years, in large part because we share the same goals of wanting our neighborhood to be a place where our sidewalks are safe and clean and where mental health is supported. Our goal is for East 125th Street to be a place where our businesses and cultural institutions grow and prosper and show East Harlem at its best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jordan.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify in favor of Intro 1219, the formation of the East 125th Street Business Improvement District. My name is Jordan Barowitz. I'm the co-chair of the steering committee, and I represent the Durst organization, who owns 1800 Park Avenue. We greatly appreciate the work of our colleagues at SBS, who have been invaluable guides through this process, and thank you to the council staff for their work on this issue. You may have noticed that our budget is relatively large for the size and nature of our catchment area. As my colleagues have mentioned, we are more than just a busy commercial and transit corridor. We have the highest concentration of substance abuse and mental health facilities in New York, and the wear and tear on our streets is immense. From the inception of this process, we understood that for the bid to be successful, we needed a street cleaning budget twice what is normal. This required a significant investment from some of our property owners, and I thank them for their trust in the process and commitment to the community. I also want to highlight our process in forming the bid. We worked diligently to include a diversity of voices, viewpoints, and experiences on our steering committee. We were community-led, and we cultivated a culture of shared responsibility and sacrifice. The consensus we formed at the steering committee was essential to our success when we entered the public outreach phase of the process. We have worked hard on this because we believe this bid will improve the lives of everyone who lives, works, shops, and visits East 125th Street. Finally, thank you to Councilmember Salam, and especially to Deputy Majority Leader Ayala. We would not be here without your support. You've been with us from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from my colleagues? Gail?
First of all, congratulations, particularly to Carrie, but to everybody. My question is, knowing the area well, how will specifically, because you've worked really hard already on sanitation, already on public safety, already with the 5 methadone treatment that don't necessarily support what you're doing. So how will this funding be able to improve all the amazing work that you've done so far?
It's a great question. I think, first of all, it will be a lot more funding, and then it's also more reliable, because currently we're grant writing, we're asking our council members for support, but this bid funding comes in regularly, and it comes in before you need to spend it, which is different than council funding. And our goal is really to hit the ground running, doubling the size of our street cleaning team, and we have more blocks we can cover, which also means currently we're just cleaning 125th, but now we're going to do 124th, 126th, 127th, 128th, which will help a lot of the inputs that are creating the mess on 125th.
You good there?
No, I forgot to thank Blaze for all of the work. I know it was not easy. And again, I think that this is going to be, I think people misunderstand what our intentions are in all of the work that we've put into 125th Street. All of the love, sweat, labor, funding is really to build the infrastructure that we need for future generations that will live there, that will call that community home. I live not too far from there, and I'm there a lot. And I know how much work it took to get here. So I really want you to celebrate today, because this is a really, really big deal for all of us and for East Harlem. And I want to thank you all, because the easy part is for me to be able to put in some funding, but the hard work is really done by the community stakeholders, and that's all of you. And so I want to thank you, and I want to thank obviously SBS for their commitment to helping us make this happen. Thank you.